Men, let's be real. When a woman comes back after leaving, it can stir up a storm of emotions: confusion, hope, frustration, and even anger. But how you respond in that moment determines whether you regain control of the dynamic or lose your power entirely. Stoicism teaches us that your value, composure, and decisions should never be dictated by her actions. How you handle her return is not about chasing, pleading, or begging. It's about remaining calm, grounded, and strategic while protecting your own worth. Many men make the mistake of overreacting. They immediately shower her with attention, apologies, or attempts to win her back. This behavior signals low value, desperation, and emotional dependency, qualities that reduce attraction and respect. Women are drawn to men who operate with independence, confidence, and self-respect, especially in situations where emotions are high. If she comes back, it's an opportunity to demonstrate your composure, enforce boundaries, and subtly remind her why you are worth pursuing. In this guide, we'll break down 7 powerful strategies to handle her return in a way that maintains your dignity, positions you as high value, and triggers her respect and attraction. Each section focuses on actionable behaviors and psychological principles that show strength, composure, and emotional authority. These strategies aren't about manipulation. They're about creating a dynamic where she must reflect on her choices, appreciate your presence, and engage with you on your terms. When applied consistently, these strategies give you control of the interaction and your emotional state. You won't be swayed by uncertainty, guilt, or drama. Instead, you'll act from a place of calm confidence, making her reconsider her decisions and, if the connection is meant to continue, pursue you thoughtfully. Women respond instinctively to men who remain grounded, composed, and self-respecting in situations that test emotions, which makes this approach highly effective in modern dating. 1. Stay calm and compose men. The first rule when a woman comes back after leaving is to stay calm and composed. Your initial reaction sets the tone for the entire interaction. If you respond with panic, desperation, or emotional turbulence, you immediately lower your value in her eyes. Stoicism teaches us that external events, like someone returning or leaving, do not control your inner state. Only your response does. By maintaining composure, you demonstrate that your self-worth, confidence, and emotional stability are independent of her actions. Staying calm begins with your mindset. Recognize that her return is not validation of your worth, nor a signal that you must chase her back. It's simply an event to be navigated strategically. When you internalize that, your value remains intact, regardless of her choices. Your demeanor naturally becomes steady and grounded. Women are wired to notice emotional stability because it signals maturity, self-respect, and high status, qualities that inspire attraction. Behaviorally, calmness is reflected in your tone, body language, and timing. Avoid rushing to respond immediately to her messages or calls. Take your time, respond thoughtfully, and never over-explain or justify your past behavior. Maintain relaxed posture, controlled gestures, and steady eye contact during any in-person interactions. These subtle cues communicate that you are emotionally anchored and not easily swayed by drama or uncertainty. Communication is also key. Use measured language that conveys confidence without aggression or hostility. Simple statements like, "I see you've reached out. Let's talk when we can both focus," or "I'm open to discussing things, but I need clarity first," signal that you are in control and not desperate. Avoid emotional outbursts, guilt trips, or passive-aggressive comments. These behaviors only signal insecurity and lower your perceived value. Psychologically, calmness challenges her ego and triggers reflection. When she sees that her attempt to create emotional tension or urgency doesn't affect you, she begins to reconsider her own behavior. She notices the contrast between men who react emotionally and a man who remains composed, which naturally commands respect and draws her attention. Calmness creates a subtle psychological pull because women are attracted to men who are emotionally resilient and in control. Many men fail here because they mistake excitement or hope for opportunity, leading them to act impulsively. The key is self-discipline. Stay anchored in your own life, priorities, and emotional equilibrium. Your confidence and composure make you magnetic because she can sense that your attention and presence are intentional, not automatic. In short, staying calm and composed when a woman comes back establishes immediate authority and value. It sets the tone for how interactions will proceed, makes her reflect on her actions, and positions you as a man she must engage with on your terms. Calmness is the foundation for all the other strategies that follow. 2. Evaluate her intentions. Men, the second critical step when a woman comes back after leaving is to carefully evaluate her intentions. This is not about jumping to conclusions or reacting impulsively. It's about observing her behavior, understanding her motives, and making decisions from a place of clarity rather than emotion. Too many men allow their feelings to cloud judgment and immediately assume her return means she's committed or genuinely interested. Stoicism teaches that you must respond rationally, with self-respect, not emotionally, because your actions dictate your value. Start by paying attention to her timing and reasons for returning. Is she coming back because of convenience, loneliness, or jealousy? Or is she genuinely reflecting on the past and seeking a meaningful connection? Small details, like her tone in messages, consistency in reaching out, and the effort she makes, reveal her intentions. Men who act without evaluating risk being pulled into drama, giving attention to someone who may not truly value them. Your goal is to understand her mindset before committing emotionally or making decisions that could compromise your boundaries. Behaviorally, evaluating intentions means creating space to observe without rushing. Don't respond immediately to her attempts to reconnect. Take your time, see how she communicates, and test whether her actions align with her words. For example, if she promises changes or reconciliation, watch whether she follows through consistently. Actions always speak louder than words. Notice patterns. If her return is sudden, inconsistent, or self-serving, it signals that her intentions may not align with your value or long-term interests. Psychologically, taking this evaluative stance places you in a position of power. Women are attracted to men who are discerning, selective, and deliberate. By not immediately assuming her return equals approval, you create a subtle tension that challenges her ego. She recognizes that her efforts must be meaningful to earn your attention, which increases her investment if she truly wants you. Evaluating her intentions prevents you from being taken for granted and reinforces your independence and high-value status. Many men fail because they are desperate to fix the past, misreading her return as validation. They rush to reconnect, offer apologies unnecessarily, or give attention without conditions, which diminishes their perceived value. High-value men, on the other hand, analyze the situation with calm objectivity. They allow their judgment, not emotion, to guide the next step. In short, evaluating her intentions is a necessary filter before you engage fully. It ensures that your energy, attention, and time are invested wisely. By observing her actions, assessing consistency, and understanding her motives, you maintain control of the dynamic. This step preserves your dignity, communicates self-respect, and subtly triggers reflection and accountability in her. A man who evaluates before reacting is a man who commands respect and positions himself as someone worth chasing thoughtfully. 3. Maintain emotional independence. Men, the third key step when a woman comes back after leaving is to maintain complete emotional independence. This is the cornerstone of keeping your value intact. Emotional independence means your happiness, self-worth, and decisions are not dictated by her presence, absence, or approval. Too many men fall into the trap of over-investing emotionally the moment she returns, giving her power to dictate how they feel and act. Stoicism teaches that your inner peace and confidence must come from within, not from external circumstances, and this principle is essential when navigating a woman's return. Emotional independence starts with mindset. Recognize that her return is not validation of your worth, nor a guarantee of commitment. Your focus should remain on yourself, your goals, and your personal growth. By remaining centered, you automatically communicate high value. Women sense when a man's energy is self-contained and unaffected by drama or manipulation. Emotional independence is attractive because it signals strength, stability, and self-respect, all qualities that naturally draw women to invest in a man who is grounded. Behaviorally, maintaining emotional independence requires discipline in your interactions. Don't overreact to her messages or attempts to reconnect. Respond thoughtfully, on your own terms, rather than impulsively. Continue to prioritize your life outside the relationship, your work, hobbies, friendships, and personal growth. Avoid canceling your plans or reshaping your schedule to accommodate her return immediately. Let your time and attention be deliberate, demonstrating that she is not the sole determinant of your emotional state or availability. Another practical aspect is communication. Speak calmly and clearly, without excessive emotion or justification. Avoid apologizing unnecessarily or expressing desperation. Even if you feel a strong emotional pull, maintain composure and act from a rational place. This doesn't mean being cold or dismissive. It means staying grounded and letting your presence and energy speak louder than your words. Emotional restraint highlights self-control, independence, and high-value energy, all of which women find magnetic. Psychologically, emotional independence triggers a shift in her perception. When she realizes that her return does not guarantee control over your emotions or attention, she must reevaluate her approach. She begins to respect your boundaries, appreciate your composure, and invest more thoughtfully if she wants to reconnect. Emotional independence challenges her ego in a subtle but powerful way. She sees that you are not desperate, that your value is intrinsic, and that she must earn engagement rather than assume it. Many men fail here because they allow hope, guilt, or attachment to dictate their behavior. They overreact, chase, or seek reassurance, which diminishes attraction and signals low value. High-value men maintain their inner calm, operate from a position of self-respect, and let women come to them on their terms. In short, maintaining emotional independence is essential when a woman comes back. It protects your value, communicates strength, and creates a subtle pull that encourages her to invest meaningfully. By staying composed, prioritizing yourself, and controlling your responses, you establish a dynamic where she respects your boundaries, reflects on her actions, and naturally gravitates toward you. 4. Set clear boundaries. Men, the fourth essential step when a woman comes back after leaving is to set clear boundaries. Boundaries communicate your value, protect your emotional energy, and show her that your time and attention are not automatically hers to claim. Many men make the mistake of overextending themselves when a woman returns, bending over backward to prove their worth or fix the past. This behavior lowers attraction because it signals neediness and lack of self-respect. Stoicism teaches that you control what you allow into your life. Your focus, time, and emotional energy must remain aligned with your standards. Setting boundaries starts with clarity about what you will accept and what you will not. Ask yourself, what behaviors are deal breakers? What level of communication and effort do you expect? What must she demonstrate to show she is serious about reconnecting? Once you define these lines, Communicate them calmly and confidently. For example, if she repeatedly tests your patience or shows inconsistent behavior, respond with firm limits. I'm willing to talk when we can both be honest and respectful. Or, I need consistency to move forward. Boundaries are not threats. They are statements of self-respect that define the terms of engagement. Behaviorally, boundaries can be expressed through both actions and words. Don't immediately drop everything to accommodate her return. Keep your schedule and priorities intact. Limit excessive emotional disclosure or over-texting until she demonstrates consistent effort. Maintain your independence and social commitments. Your life should continue fully, signaling that her return is considered but not demanded. Boundaries also include how you react to her attempts to test or manipulate your attention. Stay calm, assertive, and consistent in your responses, reinforcing that your time and energy are earned, not assumed. Psychologically, boundaries challenge her ego in a subtle but powerful way. When she sees that you won't tolerate erratic behavior or instant forgiveness, she begins to reassess her actions and priorities. She recognizes that to regain access to your attention and presence, she must respect your terms. This not only increases her desire to reconnect thoughtfully, but also enhances her perception of your value. Women are drawn to men who enforce boundaries because it signals self-respect, independence, and emotional strength. Many men fail because they either allow her back in without conditions or overreact defensively, creating chaos or guilt. High-value men enforce boundaries calmly and consistently. Boundaries are a demonstration of control, not punishment. They position you as a man who is selective about his energy, who values himself, and whose attention must be earned. In short, setting clear boundaries is critical when a woman returns. It communicates your worth, protects your emotional energy, and establishes a dynamic where she must demonstrate effort and consistency. Boundaries maintain your control over the interaction, trigger reflection and accountability in her, and naturally increase her respect and desire. A man with firm boundaries signals strength, confidence, and value, the qualities that make women want to engage on his terms. 5. Rebuild attraction. Slowly. Men, the fifth crucial step when a woman comes back after leaving is to rebuild attraction slowly. Attraction is not automatic. It is earned and reinforced over time through consistent behavior, energy, and presence. Many men make the mistake of trying to fast-track things by immediately being overly affectionate, apologetic, or eager to reconnect. This approach signals low value and desperation, which diminishes attraction. Stoicism teaches that patience, composure, and deliberate action are far more effective in creating long-term respect and desire. Rebuilding attraction begins with maintaining your independence while selectively engaging her. Show her that you are still fully immersed in your own life. Your goals, passions, friendships, and routines remain intact. When she sees that your world hasn't stopped for her return, it communicates high value and reinforces the idea that your attention is earned, not freely given. Engage in meaningful interactions without over-investing emotionally. Make her experience your presence as rewarding, exciting, and different from what she had before. Behaviorally, rebuilding attraction requires thoughtful pacing. Don't rush intimacy, whether emotional or physical. Use playful banter, light teasing, and confidence-driven communication to spark curiosity and excitement. Demonstrate consistency in your words and actions so she knows what to expect from a high-value man, but leave subtle elements of mystery or unpredictability to maintain intrigue. Balance warmth and engagement with independence and composure. The tension created through this balance is what naturally draws her toward you. Psychologically, rebuilding attraction works because women respond strongly to men who are emotionally anchored, selective, and confident. When you engage slowly, she begins to reflect on her prior choices, realize the value of your presence, and experience a renewed desire for your attention. the contrast between past behavior, where perhaps you were too available or reactive, and your current composed and high-value self, creates a magnetic pull that makes her chase connection rather than passively receive it. Another key aspect is demonstrating growth. If there were patterns in the past that caused disconnection, show through subtle actions that you have evolved without making excuses or explaining excessively. Women notice men who maintain dignity, self-respect, and emotional stability. These traits are inherently attractive and reinforce the idea that being with you is a privilege, not a guarantee. Many men fail because they try to force closeness too quickly or overcompensate for past mistakes. High-value men understand that attraction builds over time through a combination of presence, energy, consistency, and selective engagement. Patience and strategic pacing not only rebuild attraction, but also strengthen her respect and desire. In short, rebuilding attraction slowly ensures that she is drawn to you for the right reasons. By engaging deliberately, maintaining independence, and demonstrating emotional stability, you reinforce your value while creating anticipation, curiosity, and desire. This strategy positions you as a high-value man she wants to invest in thoughtfully, rather than someone she can take for granted or chase recklessly. 6. Test commitment and consistency. Men, the sixth essential step when a woman comes back after leaving is to test her commitment and consistency. This isn't about playing games or creating unnecessary tension. It's about ensuring that her intentions align with your value and the level of effort you're willing to invest. Many men make the mistake of accepting her return at face value without evaluating whether she is serious or reliable. Stoicism teaches that a high-value man remains rational and observes behavior before fully re-engaging emotionally. Testing commitment ensures that you do not compromise your boundaries or self-respect. Testing commitment starts with small, deliberate observations. Pay attention to her actions versus her words. Is she consistent in communication, punctual and reliable in following through on promises? Does she respect your boundaries and show genuine effort to reconnect on meaningful terms? Even subtle inconsistencies, like canceling plans last minute, vague explanations, or fluctuating emotional engagement, signal that she may not be fully invested. Observing these behaviors before committing emotionally protects your value and prevents repeated patterns of disappointment. Behaviorally, you can test commitment in practical ways. Continue to maintain your schedule and priorities, and notice if she makes an effort to adapt without compromising her integrity. Ask for clarity in situations that matter, like discussing intentions for the future, defining boundaries, or resolving past issues, and evaluate whether her responses align with her actions. Watch how she behaves when you are not immediately available. A woman who is genuinely committed will invest effort consistently, while someone who is uncertain or self-serving will reveal patterns of inconsistency. Psychologically, testing commitment challenges her ego and clarifies the dynamic. Women are naturally drawn to men who are selective, discerning, and intentional. By not immediately assuming trust or giving unconditional access, you communicate that your attention is valuable and cannot be taken for granted. This compels her to invest thoughtfully and consistently if she truly wants the connection. Testing commitment subtly reinforces your high-value energy and encourages reflection on her part, increasing both respect and desire. Many men fail here because they either overinvest too quickly or avoid accountability, letting women dictate the pace and conditions of reconnection. High-value men remain observant, rational, and patient. They understand that actions are far more telling than words, and they never compromise boundaries for the sake of emotional convenience. This approach positions them as men who are reliable, consistent, and discerning, qualities that women deeply respect and are naturally attracted to. In short, Testing commitment and consistency protects your value and ensures that she demonstrates genuine effort before you fully reinvest emotionally. It communicates that your time and energy are selective, triggers reflection and accountability in her, and increases attraction by creating a dynamic where she must earn trust and engagement. This strategy is critical for maintaining high-value behavior and rebuilding a connection that is healthy, balanced, and respectful. 7. Lead the dynamic men. The seventh and final step when a woman comes back after leaving is to lead the dynamic. This is where your high-value presence, composure, and strategy converge. Women are instinctively attracted to men who take the lead emotionally, socially, and in decision-making. Leadership doesn't mean being controlling or domineering. It means guiding the interaction in a way that maintains your boundaries, sets the tone, and reinforces your value. When you lead the dynamic, she naturally begins to follow, invest, and respect your energy. Leading the dynamic starts with clear intention. You decide how much access she gets to your time, attention, and emotional energy. You establish the pace for reconnecting, while remaining flexible enough to allow her to demonstrate effort and commitment. For example, you might suggest the next meeting or conversation, keeping it aligned with your schedule and priorities. By doing so, you communicate that you operate on your own terms, not in reaction to her return. Women instinctively respond to men who set the pace because it signals strength, confidence, and direction. Behaviorally, leading the dynamic involves balancing warmth with authority. Engage in meaningful conversation, show interest, and be present, but remain deliberate with your energy. Don't overcompensate for past mistakes or try to fix everything at once. Keep your interactions memorable and purposeful, allowing her to experience the value of your attention. Make decisions confidently and calmly, whether it's about meeting times, topics of conversation, or activities together. This sets a tone that you are a man of action, not reaction. Psychologically, leading the dynamic creates attraction by establishing a clear hierarchy of value. Women are drawn to men who are emotionally anchored, decisive, and selective. When she realizes that your attention is given intentionally and not automatically, she must reflect on her behavior, invest effort, and prioritize you. Leadership in this context isn't about dominance. It's about self-respect, emotional stability, and guiding the interaction in a way that fosters attraction and engagement. Another critical aspect is consistency. Leading the dynamic is not a one-time act. It's a consistent approach that communicates reliability and high-value energy. Women notice men who remain composed, confident, and consistent over time. They feel safe engaging with such men, but are also subtly pulled in by the authority and stability they project. This balance naturally triggers pursuit and desire because she recognizes that your presence is meaningful and earned. Many men fail because they either surrender control to her emotions or overcompensate with desperation and pleading. High-value men maintain the balance. They guide the connection without controlling it, set the pace without being rigid, and remain emotionally anchored without being cold. Leadership communicates that you are the standard, the anchor, and the prize, not someone who reacts impulsively to her return. In short, leading the dynamic ensures that you remain in control of your energy, boundaries, and interactions. It positions you as the high-value man she must engage with thoughtfully, respects your time, and invests in meaningfully. By combining composure, intentionality, and strategic action, you create a dynamic where she naturally chases connection while you maintain authority and value. Men, when a woman comes back after leaving, how you respond defines the entire dynamic. This is not a moment for desperation, overcompensation, or emotional volatility. Stoicism teaches that your inner calm, self-respect, and intentional action are far more powerful than reactionary behavior. By staying calm and composed, evaluating her intentions, maintaining emotional independence, setting clear boundaries, rebuilding attraction slowly, testing commitment and consistency, and leading the dynamic, you position yourself as a high-value man who operates on his own terms. The key takeaway is control. Every step, from observing her motives to guiding the interaction, ensures that your attention, energy, and emotions are never taken for granted. Women respond instinctively to men who demonstrate composure, independence, and selective engagement. When she realizes that your presence is valuable and your attention is intentional, she begins to reflect on her actions, prioritize the connection, and invest thoughtfully. This naturally creates pursuit, respect, and attraction without manipulation, drama, or compromise. Many men fail because they react emotionally, assume her return is validation, or abandon boundaries in hopes of regaining her favor. High-value men act from calm authority. They recognize that their worth is intrinsic, not conditional on her behavior. By implementing these 7 strategies consistently, you maintain control over the dynamic, protect your emotional energy, and create a scenario where she is compelled to engage with you on meaningful, respectful, and mutually attractive terms. In short, when handled strategically, a woman's return becomes an opportunity to reinforce your value, rebuild attraction, and establish a connection that respects both your boundaries and hers. The man who responds with composure, patience, and high-value behavior is the man she respects, desires, and ultimately chooses to invest in. Your calm authority and deliberate approach are what transform uncertainty into attraction and hesitation into pursuit.